It's happening. Elon Musk is taking over Twitter and the woke left is going through an absolute meltdown. We're going to sample that collective temper tantrum and we're going to see precisely why Musk's takeover of Twitter means nothing less than the beginning of the end for the woke left. You are not going to want to miss this. Elon Musk has taken over Twitter and he's performatively telling the woke world, let that sink in. That sink has indeed come in. The question, of course, is what's about to get drained. And I think we all know the answer to that. Woke leftist cancel culture is about to get flushed down the sewer where it belongs. Almost immediately after Musk posted his clever bit of trolling there, the woke mob did what they do best, and that, of course, is vomiting out their obnoxious virtue signaling nonsense. A so-called CNN analyst can't quite figure out what CNN analyzes, but alas, CNN analyst Juliet Kayyem tweeted out in response, "This is fundamentally cruel. Whatever the masters of the universe are doing with this website, lots and lots of people, not fancy people, just people with kids and houses and vacation plans and who make companies run and rich men richer will lose their livelihoods." Oh, hey, Juliet, do you ever stop to voice such consideration for all the content creators that have been permanently banned by Twitter? Have you? They didn't break any laws. They didn't violate any FCC regulations. They simply voiced opinions that those very people you just talked about found offensive. You have the gall to virtue signal about a group of people losing their livelihoods without so much as a semblance of consideration that part of those livelihoods were dedicated to crushing the livelihoods of others. Oh, and by the way, I hear CNN is instituting another round of layoffs before the end of the year, so you might want to worry about your own situation. Mississippi Free Press reporter Ashton Pittman tweeted out, "He's such a piece of trash." Well, that was sophisticated. I'm glad to see that Mississippi Free Press hires such verbally gifted and creative staff. You're a credit to your organization. Der Spiegel journalist Matthew Von Rohr tweeted out, "Tech billionaire with very strong, eccentric, and often half-baked views on politics, powered by enormous ego, is live tweeting this takeover, this platform." While someone from Der Spiegel is accusing another of having half-baked views on politics. Now I have heard everything. I know I have a horrible German accent. As you can see, the woke left is freaking out, but we've got to ask why. Why the meltdown over Elon Musk? Billionaires take over media companies all the time. Why is this takeover such a huge deal for the woke left? Well, we're going to answer precisely that, as well as fight back against those who track our online activity. And that's where the one and only ExpressVPN comes in. ExpressVPN enables you to hide your online presence by encrypting 100% of your network so no one can track your online activity. And the best part is how easy it is to use. It literally just takes one click to protect all of your devices. So let's stop allowing big tech to revoke our right to free speech. Why not revoke their right to your data instead? Secure your internet with the VPN I trust the most for online protection. Click on that link below or visit expressvpn.com/Turley to get 3 extra months free with my exclusive link. So don't wait. Click on that link below right now to learn more. Tucker Carlson had Revolver News correspondent Darren Beatty to discuss what they both believe to be the radical civilizational importance of this acquisition. Both agree that we simply cannot overstate the civilizational significance of Musk's takeover of Twitter and what a radical blow it is to the globalist powers that be.
Why is this a bigger story than your average billionaire buying your average media outlet?
Well, Elon Musk has the potential to be a great man of history, and he has stepped outside of his designated role as glorified IT support for the regime, and he stepped into a very dangerous, high-stakes arena for a cause of civilizational importance. The question of whether we have free speech on what he calls a global public square is indeed of civilizational importance, and it's an existential threat to the crooks that control our regime. And in fact, it's such a threat that I predict if he goes through with this and does implement free speech on Twitter, Elon Musk and Twitter will be designated, in effect, the #1 national security threat to the crooks in control of our regime.
So Twitter is more than just a venue for people to spout off about politics. Twitter is used by foreign governments, by our own government,
Yes,
in the information wars. Is that correct?
absolutely. There's been a lot of talk about bots, and bots aren't just automated things promoting the latest cryptocurrency scam or even bots of foreign intelligence agencies. The truth is, our intelligence agencies, operating usually through cutouts and NGOs, have played a huge role in influencing politics on every level precisely by gaming the system in social media platforms like Twitter. And Elon Musk, I think, really needs someone who understands the architecture of that censorship. There's an example, probably the greatest national security leak since Snowden, of how the censorship regime works. We talk about it on a recent piece at Revolver News that's available now. It's called the Integrity Initiative. But the social media apps are replete with these types of operations. In fact, one woman who attacked Elon Musk for threatening to restore free speech on Twitter was involved in an operation setting up fake Russian accounts so she could blame an American politician for enjoying support by the Russians. And so you really need to understand how deep this goes and how dark this is.
Now, the woman he's referring to there is none other than Nina Jankowicz, the Biden-appointed head of the infamous and short-lived Disinformation Board, what many affectionately referred to as nothing less than a ministry of truth. According to that bombshell article that Darren referenced on Revolver, Jankowicz's name appears in a 2018 leak as a member of the, quote, inner core of what's known as the Integrity Initiative. According to this report by Revolver, hackers accessed a huge swath of internal documents from the Integrity Initiative that detailed how they deliberately created what they called clusters of academics, former politicians, pundits, military experts, intelligence experts, and the like, who would be tasked with basically smearing conservative and right-wing politicians and activists as propagators of Russian disinformation. Now, this is precisely the kind of apparatus that kicked into high gear when the Hunter Biden laptop scandal originally broke out. You, of course, remember that shameful moment in our nation's history when a bunch of so-called intelligence experts all rallied around Sleepy Joe, dismissing the laptop story as nothing more than Russian disinformation. This is precisely what the Integrity Initiative was set up to do. It protects the regime by smearing and besmirching enemies of the regime as enemies to democracy itself. Sound familiar? And to bring this all full circle, Beatty's point there is that the regime uses social media as part of these information wars. And the key here is that it depends. Again, that's the key. In order for this disinformation campaign on behalf of the globalist regime to work, these groups like Integrity Initiative they require the compliance of the social media platforms. Think of Mark Zuckerberg and what he recently admitted to Joe Rogan, that Facebook was completely compliant with the demands issued by the FBI regarding Hunter's laptop. This is what is ultimately so threatening about what Elon Musk is doing here with Twitter. He's taking away from the regime the single most important global messaging system on the planet. What we have to understand about Twitter is that it is, for better or for worse, Twitter is the de facto global public square. It's the epicenter of narrative formation and narrative dissemination, where all the thought leaders in literally every discipline engage in discourse. And so for better or for worse, Twitter is the place, or better, the cyberspace, where meta-narratives are formed. And a meta-narrative is a paradigm that explains and mutually interprets and assimilates all the various disciplines out there into a single coherent worldview. And for nearly a decade now, the cultural left, what we call cultural Marxists, the woke left, which is the reigning ethos, the worldview of the permanent political class, for nearly a decade now, woke forces have dominated all the various disciplines and spheres represented on Twitter: politics, business, economics, all the arts, Hollywood, science forums, tech news, fintech, finance, you name it. All of these disciplines and communities converge on Twitter, and the leftist narrative, the cultural Marxist woke narrative, has been deliberately given preeminence over all other narratives like faith, family, and freedom in every sphere on Twitter. So in many respects, Twitter was the symbol par excellence of the woke left's conquering of culture. And what did Elon Musk just do? He just stole Twitter away from the powers that be. He stole Twitter away from the regime. The regime no longer has a compliant global platform by which they can manipulate things for their benefit. You see, the Democrats have been radically frustrated in implementing their social agenda on the nation precisely because the nation doesn't want anything to do with it. And so their failures at the ballot box have been compensated by their success in corporate boardrooms. You might remember Rush Limbaugh used to say that liberals use the courts to enforce what they can't pass through the legislative process. Well, now, of course, they've lost the Supreme Court. So the left has to go to woke corporate boardrooms to enforce what legislative and judicial means won't. They've gone from the courts to the corporations now to push their woke nonsense. What the Elon Musk buyout represents is nothing less than the fact that those days are coming to an end. The woke left is now starting to implode, not just at the political level, being led by an incompetent and incontinent joke in the Oval Office. They're not just imploding at the political level. They're not just imploding at the judicial level. The woke left is now starting to implode at the corporate cultural level. And if cultural Marxism can't succeed at the level of culture, then cultural Marxism can't succeed at all. That is why this is ultimately a huge civilizational deal. Elon Musk just stole a huge cultural platform away from the cultural Marxist left. And if cultural Marxism loses culture, it loses everything. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on MSNBC panicking as things are turning out to be even worse than they ever could have imagined. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on the link and I will see you over there. God bless.